everybody. It's Thursday.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And this is Fisher. He's been joining us the last few episodes and he kind of crawls around the room. So for those of you, who are joining us at home, if you hear noise in the background, that is what that is these days.
Yeah.
With that though, we are here to talk fishing and not cats, unless you are catfishing, then I love that as well. But this time of the year where we are at in Wisconsin, we still have ice.
Yep, we have lots of ice. Well, shorelines might be getting a little sketchy with a little bit of rain and the melt we've got, but we'll check that this weekend. Last weekend was good though. Tooled around on the snowmobile a bit around the Anago area, and it was tough. It was slushy. It was like we had fronts rolling in every other day, it seemed like. So it was like,
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Craig. So yeah, it was tough, but we found some panfish. It was a fun time. We got the XT hideouts out there, and caught some attention of the local landowners. So they came out and joined us, and we got to share some basin fishing. But yeah, it was pretty fun.
That is true. It is kind of funny though, because gosh, it is mid-March. And so I know there's a lot of places south of us that
they
Croucher don't have ice, and they haven't for a while, but we do. And those conditions are, there is a lot of snow,
hey,
but with that, it's changing fast because there's a lot of rain right now. But where I'm going with all this is we are still, despite being mid-March, it is a mid-winter pattern where we were. At least the fish that we were fishing this past weekend were still basin fish. It is not the pattern that I would be expecting for late ice, for spring.
Yeah, I mean, coming up here the next couple of weeks, we got 40s in the daytime and freezing at night. So we're going to be getting some of that seasonal runoff going into lakes. We're going to start seeing fish show up on those transitional zones where it's where the basin meets the transition up to the shoreline. Outside of those breeding areas, they're going to start posting up for that. Panfish are a little bit out yet. They probably have another 30 degrees of water temp before they start thinking about it, but it's still starting up. They get that warm water, starts fluxing in there, and they'll start thinking about it. And for a lot of people in our area, they're thinking walleyes.
That is absolutely true. And a lot of people are out hitting the rivers. And so that is a ton of fun to be watching on Facebook and all the other social media sites, because there is people in all of those other spring spots. So despite being on ice, walleyes are about to be the thing.
Yep. So, as much as we're out on the ice, I'm coming home. Still working on that lure lab. We got a couple more things to do. I got the rod table. I got the rod table up. I got cabinets in. We're going to show you guys eventually, but I've been coming home and doing some lure making. We're getting some plastics, and we got that blade bait mold, and so I'm gearing up during the week, still ice fishing during the weekend, and we're going to slide right into it, I think.
And hopefully we don't slide on the ice this weekend, because after all of the snow and the slush and it is being matted down by this rain, we will see what this weekend looks like. We have a little bit of a long weekend ourselves. And so, technically we will have an extra day for ice fishing, but it's going to be determined by the weather, by the conditions. For a while they were saying another 8 inches of snow, and now they're saying maybe not. And so we don't know what any of that'll look like. This time of the year, name of the game is always safety.
Name of the game is cross your fingers.
So, make sure that you have your spud bars and your float suits and all of those good things. And hopefully we will still see you out there.
Hey, Cindy. Yep.
So with that, there's a lot of people that are thinking walleyes and boats and open water. And one activity that we don't ever get to talk to, I guess, until tonight. Let's bring him into the show, Ed the Diver.
What's up?
Hey, Ed.
Let's say walleye.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, I smell like a walleye, so.
I
just
do
for
for 2
diving
months
too
out of it.
much.
Yeah, well, I'm in the rivers getting all the river gunk on me, and my suits stink. Everything stinks, so I smell like a walleye.
Oh my goodness. So, well, we are so excited to have you here tonight. But for people who maybe don't know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Honored to be on the show. Been on a lot of shows lately. It's something different. Like I'm crazy busy, but I'm taking the time because I want to talk to you. I want to be on your show and just let you know everything. But I scuba dive. I started scuba diving a couple years ago. Actually, it was just started free diving. I was raising kids. We were fishing for walleye on Stevenson Island, Marinette here. They were losing my lures, and I go back and look at my tackle tray, and it's getting lower and lower. I was losing them too. But anyway, I'm like, I need these back. So I went and dropped them off at home, came back later when it got warmer with shorts, shoes, and a mask. And I just had a little container. And I started to go around and start stick my face down in the water and, pick them out here and there. And then I would fill this little container up full of lures. I was pretty psyched. I'd come home and make Facebook videos showing them off. I mean, I had like 20 or 25 of them. Pretty happy. And then I started getting the scuba diving. And just yesterday, I went diving in the Fox River. I found 271 lures off of one log in the Fox River. But I also picked out about 6.5 barrels, old garbage barrels that used to be in the park. They left on the ice. They went through the ice after it melted. So people keep snagging on them. So it went from just collecting lures to doing a lot of environmental stuff, cleaning out fishing line, lures, freeing water life that was snagged up in the line or in the hooks. I'm setting them free. Like trash, tires, bicycles. I get it all out of there so people don't keep losing lures on it over and over. And it's just been awesome. The community that I'm growing, the channels that are just exploding. I keep track of everything, and I never thought I'd be doing this in my life. I'm a farm boy. I worked in factories. I've got a degree in law enforcement. I've worked construction for many years, but now I'm a social media influencer, scuba diver, all this other stuff. And it's just so cool.
You forgot all around awesome guy.
Yeah.
And a musician. So I used to play music. I used to travel and play music, but I try not to do too much music on my channels because it's Ed the Diver, not Ed the Musician. But I throw it in there once in a while.
I think it's really cool, the people who kind of come up with ideas out of, I don't know, their own personal interest, I guess, because, I look at what you're doing and outside of social media, because that is so cool to be a part of and be able to share with people. But quite frankly, you would be doing this even if YouTube or Facebook wasn't a thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love doing it for the adventure, for helping anglers, helping the water life, the environment. And that's another thing. It's like, growing up fishing, you don't really think about the environment too much. You're just out there fishing. You lose a line, your lure, your line. You just put another hook on, another lure, throw it out. You lose it again. You don't think about the impact of all the different stuff that you're leaving in there. Plus, if there's a couple guys that are losing lures over and over and over again, and that's for weeks, months, years, it adds up big time.
Actually, I'm really glad that you said that, because that's one of the things that I guess shocked me most in watching some of the videos is that, especially when you have good clarity and you can see what's going on at the bottom down there, and you're showing where, the weights all settle into these little sink piles, and that you were just literally grabbing them by the handful. It's not a piecemeal or an egg hunt or anything like that, but they are all there just collecting.
Yeah, that's up by the dams. Whenever I'm diving in dam areas, Menominee River Dam, just 2 minutes from my house here. So you got the waters coming down out of the gates, and it does a swirl around, and the other parts go the other way, but it creates a whirlpool. So any of the lead that's getting lost at certain places, it's all getting pushed down in a certain area. So last year, in one day, I took my buddy out. We got 180 pounds of lead in my kayak, and that was huge. But I've got a lot more lead downstairs from the rest of the year. I had a guy make some jigs for me. I'm recycling stuff myself too. And then plus all the bad lures, the jig heads or the blade baits that have lead on them. If they're bad, then I'll recycle the lead and make new stuff out of them.
That's really super
Awesome.
cool. I guess, are you selling the lead? Because, you've heard people in the YouTube videos that say things like, oh, you're going to sell it and make so much money. Is that actually true? Is a lure business making so much money?
I just had a comment tonight. I could spend 6 hours a day. I probably spend 4 hours, but I could 6 hours answering comments, messaging, answering questions, all this stuff. But it's I try to pace myself because I got work to do. but it's like someone just made a comment tonight. They're like, dude, you probably have so much money and lead in your basement. And I do, but I could have a lot more, but I'm kind of storing it up to do something bigger with it. And either making dive weights, making blade baits. Blade baits are very popular around here. I just have I'm working on a partnership with a big company that provides all this stuff. I don't want to say it out loud right now, but working on that right now. They saw my videos too and want to work with me. So it's just pretty cool how it's all working out. All the emails I get every day and interviews I'm doing with different companies and different stuff that has to do with fishing or boating. That's about to come out soon. TV shows. I can't. It's hard to keep up. I need like 3 other people to help me, but it's me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and I love that this all came out of, your love for fishing, because you were talking about, being out there yourself and possibly with your kids and, friends or whoever, and, losing those jigs and having to go and find them. And I mean, I think that is really super cool.
Yeah, definitely. I had never thought I'd be here where I am at today. And I'll say it's a lot of hard work. I'm doing it full time now, but I'll tell you, I work 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day. And whether it's social media stuff, whether it's playing with lures, whether it's selling, whether it's traveling, I'm all over the place.
Well, and as far as like the connection to fishing, I mean, you have videos where, I mean, even we were watching one the other day in the smallmouth, like they were hanging out with you. I mean, can you tell us about that in case people at home have not seen this? Like, what is going on?
So I've been in the Menominee River here. I get like smallmouth. They scare the poop out of me. I'll be sitting there like flipping over rocks looking for lures. All of a sudden, I got 2 or 3 smallmouth just sitting there like looking, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing here?" And they're waiting for a crawfish to come out, and they'll end up they'll find a crawfish, but they'll follow me. Like they'll follow me around my whole dive. And I've had a couple times like the same bass. I could tell you can see scars in a lot of their lips from being caught and released, and their lips ripped. But one bass by the interstate bridge here, a month apart, it found me both times, and it followed me my whole dive. It's so cool. I named him Bob the Bass.
Well, and it is really cool, to watch when you do find a crayfish and, if you toss it to them and, what that crayfish decides to do. Like some of them like try to fight the fish, or some of them, make it under a rock, and otherwise they're eaten up so fast. But it makes you really think about the bait that you're using.
Exactly. Yep. The colors of the bait and the action of it and stuff. And as soon as I let it go, if it's in the water, they're after it. As soon as it hits the bottom and it's at them like this, then they all kind of back off as soon as the pincher's out. So then I'm like, okay, you got away. You're good. I'll leave you alone now.
Well, and that is cool to see when there is great clarity like that, because, I mean, obviously that makes for great footage. But you go to a lot of places where there is little to no clarity.
Exactly. And I won't go to new places if the clarity is really low, because you never know what's going to be out there. There's going to be sharp, rusty objects in the water, rebar, bicycles. There could be all kinds of line across, and you got all this gear on, stuff on your back, and all your stuff that stuff can hook up on. But I always carry a couple knives, pliers, and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't want to go somewhere where it's low visibility and you're not familiar. But if I'm familiar, like I'll dive in somewhere where I can't see nothing. But if I know the contour of the water, or the bottom of the water, can't even think of the word right now. But if I know it, I'll just go blindly and like feel around. And as I'm going, okay, I'll feel it kind of like Braille almost. I'm like, okay, I remember this rock. I remember it going down here now. And now I remember this drop off. And then I'll just kind of like feel around. I'm like, okay, I remember that I seen this. I'm going to cut it out now. I've done that a couple times. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's actually really scary.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. And it's if you're claustrophobic, or if you're, afraid of a fish slapping in the face or something, it's not for you.
Well, and I was watching in this episode, you're like collecting hooks, all of these things, and then you like go through gloves. like crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny that is there not another way than dive gloves?
Well, one of the most comments that I get from people are, can't you get a Kevlar glove? Kevlar glove, this, that. So I ended up buying a pair of Kevlar gloves. I ordered them online. But the thing is, like, they're good for, like a blade going across it, but it's like a fiber thin metal thing. But if you get hooks that are hooking in there, the fibers, they're still going to get stuck and you're still pulling them. You're breaking all the fibers and stuff like that. So I barely ever wear those at all. I just stick with, just the regular gloves, 5 or 6 mil when it's cold, and I go to thinner gloves when it's warmer. And I'm gonna get hooks in them. I'll grab all the lures and the hooks will hook in them, but then I just got to carefully pull them out, but not just yank around because it'll go through my glove and my finger. And I barely ever get poked or anything because the glove kind of stops it from that. But it rips. Like, I just bought a pair of $70 gloves 2 dives ago. I wore it twice, and I can already see the wear and tear. But $70, that's, if I'm selling for $4 or $5 a piece, that's like 15 lures, 14, 15 lures that I got to find to pay for new gloves. And there's a lot of lures out there.
There's a lot of lures out there. That is actually really funny. And okay, so sometimes I guess maybe we should describe this first. So when you're diving, you have a rope that is connected to, well, explain what are you connected to?
So this time of year when there's more current and when there's more people around, I'll go around with a boogie board with a basket on it and a diver down flag. So that has a smaller rope coming down to a little thing that I attach to my wrist. And I can wrap the rope. If I'm going deeper, I can unwrap the rope so it have more space up there. But then toward the summer, the fall, I've got a kayak, and I actually got another kayak donated to me from a local outfitter, Windrose North Outfitters in Menominee. They've been watching my videos, Zach, and he's like, hey, man, we appreciate you cleaning up all this mess. We want to help you out, give you a kayak to help, a bigger kayak to help you pull up anchors with rope on them that people keep snagging on, to get rid of tires, bicycles, and a really nice kayak. I got a lot of advertisement on it now. It's been sitting in my living room for the last 2 or 3 months. It's taking space. But I'm getting new sponsors like every week and new stuff I'm putting on there, so I got to keep it in the warm here.
Oh, that's right. To attach the decals. That's so funny.
But no, it's fun, and it's now I can take 2 kayaks. So I usually have a lighter anchors if it's lower current. I can take 2 kayaks and go up the river, have more space to put stuff in. But then after, it's the problem is unloading the kayaks and get it all in your truck, and then getting the kayaks back in your truck. So,
so shout out to the sponsors that do, what are those wheel things, and then you can like pull the kayak so easily. You can just load it right into a trailer.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I don't haul a trailer around. I like, because if I just can put it in my truck, strap it down, then I don't have to worry about having a bigger space or taking up more space. Usually I'll just back into a spot, pull the kayak out, put my flag on it, drag it down in the river, hop in, and then just start chucking stuff in it.
That's crazy. Well, and I saw that episode where you had like 27 acres, or I don't even know how many it actually was, but I mean, that is a lot to carry around.
Yeah, definitely. And then those anchors were ranging from like 10 pounds to 30 pounds. And one spot I remember that dive I got 27 acres in a Fox River. I can only see like 2 feet each way, so you're going up the river, just doing a 4 foot, 5 foot spot back and forth. And I came back around and just next to it. 27 acres, but a couple times I was coming up with like a 20 to 30 pound anchor. I was swimming up to my kayak and chucking them in there, and that was definitely a good workout. I had shoulder surgery last year on this shoulder. And so I got to be kind of careful.
Well, and as a viewer at home, it's so easy to watch that and be like, just keep going and getting more, but it is a lot of work. It is heavy, it does. It is a workout.
You get tired, and it's like especially right now, you get really cold. I wear wetsuits and stuff, but within 10 minutes, my hands are freezing. Like I can barely feel them, but I'm like, okay, they're just your hands. The rest, like this, will be all warm. Your extremities, your toes, your feet, your hands get cold. But I'm like, you're not going to lose them. It's cold water. I'm used to working outside in the cold. So it's like you do that, but then one of my limits to cut off, which in cold water like this, 34 degrees, is if I start getting a little foggy, I'm like, okay, it's time to go.
Oh,
But then you start thinking, just one more lure, just one more.
Just one more. Yeah.
So it's like you gotta tell yourself, nope, no more, Ed. Get out of the water. So
Well, and it is really interesting when you have to like pass things up, because sometimes you come across items that you just like can't lift up or can't put on the boogie board versus the kayak and that's you're down there to find things, and then it's like must be weird to pass it.
yeah. Well, in the Fox River or around here, if I can throw it like anchors, I'll be swimming through a river with 2 fishing rods in my hand. I'll be hauling my boogie board. I'll have an anchor that I'm kind of going through, and I just got sick of it this last fall, and I seen a couple boater, 2 guys in a boat, and they're fishing, and I found this really cool anchor. I got another one in my backyard, but I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of carrying this around. So I waved the guys over. I'm like, hey, do you guys want a free anchor? Really nice one. It's probably like $50 worth. I'm sick of carrying it around. So like they seen it. They're like, heck yeah, we'll take that. So they came over next to me. I gave them permission to come close to me, and they grabbed the anchor, almost hooked me with their lure that was hanging up.
Oh my gosh.
But no, there's so much stuff to find in there, and it stinks when I only have my little board and I find a lot of stuff. But then I just say, okay, I know where it's at. I'll come back later and get it.
Well, and I imagine, well, I guess that's a question, not a statement. Like, how much do things shift with the current? Because you're like in the river and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, in the springtime when you got all the melt coming down, all the ice melting, the snow melting, you have higher water levels, and they're trying to let more water down. So it's kind of, I'll stay out of the big current and just kind of stay on the edge of it and to the sides and collect stuff. But then once the water level goes down, I'm able to go out in those big spots where everybody's losing lures on the rock shelves, on logging cribs and stuff like that. So you just load up, and there's sometimes you come up on a big wad of line with like 40 lures on it, and it's like you just get your knife out, start cutting it, start pulling apart. Make sure you have gloves on, because you go out, grab it, there's rusty hooks in there. You don't want to get hooked. Yeah, it's endless.
Well, and that's the hard part, because when you come across finds like that, you do just want to rip them out, but to have to be so careful or like use tools along the way. And it's kind of a slow process.
Definitely. And I go through like a couple knives a year, but a lot of the knives I have, I don't have a sharpener big enough to sharpen them. A lot of people say, oh, you can just sharpen them on a rock underwater too. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about that.
No, because you're busy fighting stuff.
Yeah. So, but it's just like, line cutters. They're a company that they do fishing. I don't know if you ever heard of Line Cutters.
Yeah, we that's one of our favorite companies. We have them on our float suits.
Awesome. Yeah. So they just sent me some stuff. So I've been using that. They got a ceramic blade, doesn't rust or anything. But I just got to watch out for leaders, since it's a ceramic blade. It's really sharp, but I got to make sure I'm not trying to cut through leaders, because then it'll dull it. But it works awesome. I've used it a couple times already, made a video. They love the video, and they're like, hey, if you need any more of these, let us know. We got you. We got your back.
That's awesome. So
that's pretty cool. And then just other products that people have been sending me, companies, hey, try this out. And it's kind of cool. Like seeing people want me to try it out, make a video, advertise for them, but it helps me also.
That is for sure. Well, and I've seen that, out of all of these lures that you find, like you're saying, you do bring them home and in some cases clean them up. And, are you repainting them, or some are good as is, or?
I say if I bring home, like I just brought home 271 lures that was in a big wad of line, I'd say about 8% of them either need to be repainted. No, I'd say 8% were bad. I think about 7% need new paint jobs. So 50% either bad or need new paint. And then the rest I can just resell. So I just, I was cleaning up logs. I found that lot. I was cleaning up trash cans. I found that log with 271 lures. A lot of 125 ripping wraps around there. Those are $8 a piece, brand new. And then so I'll clean them up, resell them for $5 if I just flip them right away, put new hooks on them, clean them. And then the ones that I repaint, I'll have to strip the old paint off and then I'll paint them. But then I sell those as customs for 13 because I have to put more time into them.
Yeah.
So it's like my last dive finding 271 lures, I'll probably make like between $600 to $800 off it. But that's including a lot of labor hours put into it too, with travel, keep my gear up to date and make sure I can use it right.
So are you like innately like a lure painter? Like you just already knew how to do that, or
I just so last year I sent 200 lures out to a painter, buddy of mine, and then after I sent them out, I'm like, you figure out how to edit videos, you figure out how to do this and that. Why don't you just figure out how to paint? So after I sent them out, paid them to paint them, I bought a bunch of stuff to start painting, and it's easy. So and it's like I can be artistic, so I figured out how to do it, and I make a lot of lures, the customs. I put my logo on them, and I want people to buy them and fish with them, but they're just like buying them and hanging them on their walls just as a souvenir. I'm like, no, dude, throw them in the river, lose them so I can find them. When I'm diving, I can find it with that. I'm like, I painted that.
Oh my gosh, that's the funny thing is like I'm one of those collector kind of people, but I also am like now really rooting for you to find one of your own lures. That is cool. Oh my goodness. So I mean, I guess like as far as like what do you do with all of the like garbage stuff? I mean, because you do end up with a lot of stuff. Do you just have like a really great garbage man?
Man, if I had a woman living in my house with me, I would be getting yelled at like every moment of the day. But my backyard, I've got 90 acres back there. I sell them here and there to friends and family. I've got rod holders, I got nets, I got anything that I would find in the river. But then I got bikes, and then like once a year I'll run to the dump. So right now, this spring I go to the dump because like part of my house has got stuff all over it: bicycles, cans, glass, just stuff that I'm pulling out of these places. And the city actually told me, they're like, don't pay to bring it anywhere. We appreciate what you're doing in the river here. Bring it to the dump. Say we give you permission to dump it there. We'll take care of the rest. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is actually really cool that
Yeah.
there is so much community support because, you know, you're thinking about like, oh, you're just doing this, you know, or whatever by yourself. But, you know, when it is a community effort, you know, you've talked about the people that have supported you. That is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I've got a couple other buddies that dive with me that are local here. They come with me and they help me get lures, or they help me pick up trash, haul my kayak around, you know, bring it from my truck to the bank. But I do it a lot by myself, but it's nicer with another person. But and then they kind of want to make sure I'm safe. They want to get out and dive too. And the thing is, like, I get a lot of people every day. Like, someone will see my videos and, oh, I dive too. I'd love to come with you diving sometime. And for me, it's like I got a couple buddies that I go with, and if they're not with, it's just business. Go clean up, get out of there, and you can't see much. So I'm like, having a new person with you, I'm afraid of, like, I don't know their experience level. I can't see them. They're not. You don't want to stay 2 feet away from them. 3 feet, you're getting kicked and punched, and so it's just like I'm kind of more comfortable diving by myself. But you know, I like to bring veterans out once in a while. I'm going to be doing some collaborations with a military veterans group this summer. Going to Alaska in July. Going to Minnesota to do a huge group cleanup. Just a lot of cool things coming up.
That is really cool.
That is very cool.
So for somebody who gets to, you know, dive so often and pick out so many things, I mean, you would think you've listed bicycles, you've listed like wads of lures. What is your best find?
Best find. I find a lot of phones. I know my phone was $1,200, but I find these, return them. Most of the time they already got a new phone, but I get them working, get them back. One of the ones I found in Bemidji in August, it ended up being in the water for 2 years. iPhone 11. I found it, got it dried out, working, got it back to the girl. So that was pretty cool. But I found a lot of Apple Watches, and then my most coolest right here, a Model 94 lever action Winchester from 1941, wrapped in plastic and electrical tape. But
Oh,
I gave it to the sheriff's department. They couldn't find a crime with it. Here's the evidence tag. I got it back, and I've got people all over that want this. They keep
that's
telling
so
me to
cool.
restore it and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna keep it the way it is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
I'm like almost shocked that you got it back. That is really cool.
yeah, well, they brought it to a gunsmith, and they got the number and stuff off here, but they couldn't tie it to anything. But it's like, why would you wrap it in plastic, throw it in the middle of a river? It's
Yeah.
kind of weird, but it's mine.
So I'm curious, out of you've done a lot of dives, you have a lot of videos, and I'm sure you've done a bunch of dives before you started doing your video stuff too.
Mhm.
Like what's your favorite, tell us like the story of your favorite dive that you've done.
My favorite dive, excuse me. I would say that like just locally, the Menominee River Dam. I like going out there. It happened a couple times already, but you go out there, you're diving, you got fish following you around, you see a lead, and you're like, okay, I can't take more lead. And you're just going out, all of a sudden you just see a branch, all kinds of colors on it, and there's like 400 or 500 lures on it. But the thing is, it's not light, so you know where it's at. You got to go back, get the right tools, come back. You got to get like a branch cutter. You got to have a knife. You got to have a lift bag. Those are the best ones. Just when you see a huge bunch of lures on a big mess like that, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get that. It's mine. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna clean it up. It's gonna be awesome footage, good content. But I've had it, like I found a couple like that. But there's one time I found one, but I could only cut up half of it, and so I knew there's another half in there, a couple hundred more lures, but I never found the other half again.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I was gonna say, like, finding that sounds like, like a dream. Like, I bet you like think about while you're sleeping at night. But I
Yeah.
mean, when you can't find one again, man, I bet that haunts you forever.
Yep. Well, the thing is, like every year it builds back up again, which is not really good, but it's like it's just a repeating cycle, and that's what makes this a good business too. Is like it's free product, but you're also cleaning up the river, getting it out. But I guess it's not really free because you got all your scuba gear, your time, safety, and all that stuff involved. But it's like you just got to get out there and get it. Don't be scared. You be safe. Be cautious. Get it back. Process it. Put new hooks on it. Resell it. So it's something new that I know people have been diving for a while and finding lures here and there, but like I'm taking it to a whole new level. So pretty cool.
Cool.
Well, and I like how when we kind of began this conversation, you were talking about how, you literally just went out with goggles or a face mask, I guess was more of what you said, and that you just looked around in the places that you were fishing. And I think, that is kind of a cool thing for anglers to do. I know, especially on river systems,
Mhm.
gosh, there's some of those easy jigs that as the water level goes down and like, okay, on the trees and you can pick them out. But, there's so many more than that. And so I guess that's a really cool, relatable thing that people can do going into the summer. But so many people watch your videos and they're like, I want to do that. So what does it
Yeah.
take to get to do what you do?
So a lot of people that make that comment, they get a lot every day, and they say, "Oh, I want to do that. I'm going to do that." But if they say, "I want to do that," I say, "Well, what's holding you back? Get a hold of your local scuba shop. All you got to do is go to Google, say local scuba shop or scuba shop near me. Find out how much classes cost to learn how to get your like open water certificate. Tell them what you want to do. Like a lot of people that do scuba diving, they just want to go out and look at 40, 50 feet of visibility and see sunken ships. So they want to see this and that. Like what I love to do, I'm a grabber. Like you can't grab stuff off of ships that are sunk. I like to go and clean stuff up. Low visibility. You got a big sturgeon swimming past your face. And it's like, it's stuff that gets my heart going, my adrenaline. I love doing it. But that's a lot of people want to do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not too easy. You can get scared really quick. You can have a heart attack and a heartbeat. It's just, and it's a lot of work when you're pulling big stuff out, like bicycles that are heavy, waterlogged tires, all this other stuff, garbage barrels full of zebra mussels. Not easy. But some people just want to go for the lures. And I know some divers that just go grab the good lures. They'll leave all the jigs, all the lead and plastics in the river, all the line. And I'm like, well, if you're gonna grab the good stuff, you got to grab all that other junk too.
Well, and so
It's
people
true.
who are going down this path, I mean, is a dive class like a 1-day course, or this is kind of a longer thing? Like, what does that look like?
So when I did my certification, my instructor gave me a book and a DVD to watch and study. Then I took a test, and then we went on a couple dives. I think it was like 3 or 4 dives. And had to do all these different functions to make sure I could, if my mask filled up with water, how could I get it out? If I'm underwater, how would I blow it out, be able to see again? Or if something malfunctioned, what would I do to go for another thing or get it for my partner? So they just try to do all these different skills with you, so they know that you're ready to be by yourself and go along. But one of the things that when you're diving, they encourage you not to go by yourself. But the kind of diving I do, it's like even if you have a buddy with you, you can't see him anyway. So it doesn't really do you any good. And most of the spots I dive, they're shallow. If I have a problem, I just stand up. I stand up, you're out of the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just don't put yourself in situations that if something were to happen, that you'd be in big trouble. I've always got tools. People that want to do what I do, make sure you have a pliers. Make sure you have at least one knife. You know, I have one on my leg, and I have the line cutters in my vest. Make sure that you have the right equipment on, that it's working. Like my gloves, if I got a hole in the finger and it's cold, it gets miserable really fast. That's why I go through so many gloves, because they get a hole in the finger, and then it's like, okay, I need a new pair because my left hand is bad, but the right hand is good. But I got to spend another $50-$70 on a new pair.
So, like, some local guy that has a glove shop, like, loves seeing you walk in, or
Yeah. Well, I've bought one from my local shop, a Green Bay shop, and I've ordered them online. But I'm someday hoping for a sponsor that makes these gloves. You know, because when I'm wearing my gloves in my videos, you always see the name of the gloves on my hands. It's kind of like it's advertising.
yeah.
When is somebody going to say, "Hey, we want to be advertised"?
yeah, you never know. Maybe that's somebody who's watching the show. That would be so funny.
Maybe.
I think we need to get Ed a couple of Rubbermaids, and so he can mark it right and left. So when he wrecks one side, he can put the good side in the other bin, and then he can save some of the gloves, and then he could find a matching pair of good ones when he starts fixing them.
It's usually my left hand. Like all the pairs that I have, the left hand the middle finger is always going bad. So I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed, so it's more dominant. So I'm grabbing stuff, and there's more hooks get stuck on this side.
Craig is suggesting the Striker Stealth Glove, and that is a really awesome waterproof glove. We love them for like tip ups in winter and stuff. But I mean, what goes into, I guess, like a glove for diving?
Well, it's just like my wetsuit. I can't even think of the name of the stuff they use. It's poly, whatever. But
we're not trying to quiz you yet. Don't worry.
It's I'll bring one over here, but I've got like 10 wetsuits. This time of year, I wear the thicker one, 6 mil. And when you wear a thicker suit, you gotta have more weight on you because it's more buoyant. You gotta stay down in the current and stuff. But it's like the thickness helps me stay warm. It also helps keep the hooks away from my skin, so I can get a hook in it and it won't touch my skin because it's almost like an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch thick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely I don't buy cheap ones because I want to stay warm. I want to be safe, and I want it to last. All the seams and stuff. So it's a lot of money, but the one I have, I've been wearing for. It's my 3rd or 4th year wearing it, but it's starting to like stretch apart on some of the seams. I put it on, and if you have a couple pounds over the winter and you put it on, then it's really stretching it. And then your buddy's saying, "I don't know if you realize this, but the seams on your back are starting to come apart." You call me fat? Yeah.
You just have to do more of the ice diving episodes and just keep wearing them all winter, and then you never have that gap in time.
Exactly. It's
hey,
hard.
So we were watching some of your videos, and with when you're collecting lures, especially when you're able to like pick singles and stuff off of branches, you're holding them in your hand, right? And so you pile them up in your hand, and then you bring them up and you throw them. we were asking ourselves, like, why don't you have, is it just for drag? Like, why don't you have a container that you can like throw them in, and then you won't get them in your gloves so much.
Good question. I got a metal scoop last year. I was using it in the Fox River with Chase Eberly. We were looking for a boat motor too, but I had the scoop and I was using it and stuff. I like to be free hands. I like to be able to not hold on to stuff, because I ended up forgetting this scoop. I ended up leaving it down there, but I found it again like later in the year. But it's like I don't want to like leave stuff down there, forget it. And but another thing is like I've been thinking about more when I got a fistful of lures in a walleye coming downstream. I had it last year. I played the video in slow motion. A huge walleye. I like looked at all the lures in my hand and like almost wanted to go for it. Like what happens when a fish grabs all the lures in your hand, gets hooked, and you got all those hooks in your hand?
Yeah,
you're in big trouble. So
Yeah.
like definitely, I'm double thinking like having something like that. People tell me I should bring a magnet down. Find a lure, hook on the lure magnet, but that's just another thing to be carrying around. And it's like I kind of like just grabbing them, and it's not that bad. Like once I get them up, shake them off. Sometimes they come off right away. Sometimes I'm just shaking like that, but I edit it all out so you don't have to watch it. But then you got all the line that comes with it. You throw lures in, but then you got like 3 or 4 lines with 60 feet of fishing line on them, and you're sitting there just winding it up, put it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a really great point. I mean, I've gotten snagged in the river as well. So, I mean, do you have suggestions as far as the scuba diving point of view? Like, if I'm stuck, how can I be most environmentally friendly? How do I leave the least amount of line? Or, I mean, do you have tips for that?
Well, I guess the first tip is don't cut your line. Don't just cut it at your reel. I would say try to get it out. If you tighten up your drag, back up. Most of the lures I find, they're snapped off about 4 inches back from where they're tied off. And, a lot of people have good ties, but a lot of them I find they're snapped like that far back. So that'll save a lot of line if you just try to get it out instead of just cutting your line at your reel. Because then you got all that line, and it goes down with the current, and then it creates, after it adds up over and over again, it's just a big line that everybody will hook on. Then it'll move, but they can't get off it. And then it just keeps losing. They keep losing lures over and over again.
Well, and I think I'm going to expand on that a little bit, Emily. I know some of my tactics to get some of our stuff back, because we're pretty similar to you. We like to recycle some of our stuff and try and not lose it as much as possible. So, especially when we were fishing the Wolf a lot, and we come over by you and fish the Menominee River.
Yeah.
I switch a lot of my baits to light wire hooks. Okay. We're not fishing Goliath grouper in Wisconsin. You can get away with the light wire hooks most of the time, and we're not fishing most of the time, especially in the boat. We're not fishing rivers in like 40 feet of water.
Yeah.
Even in 20 feet of water, you have to think, if you're using a 7-foot rod and you reel your line down and put your whole rod in the water, you're almost halfway back to your lure.
Oh yeah.
And so you can if you use lighter hooks, and you can position your boat, because you should be on your trolling motor or on your big motor to be able to boat position yourself for fishing. Mm-hmm. Just swing back around to where you're snagged, go upriver of it, reel down, and just pull straight up. And a lot of times that hook will bend. But like you said, if you do have a nick in your line, it's usually in that first 6 inches, and it'll snap right off. Oh. And then you won't lose as much line. So those are a couple tips that I use when I'm river fishing to kind of save myself.
That is a good tip. And when people get snagged, I'll be out there diving. I'll stay my distance because I don't want to get hooked or anything. I get guys getting snagged, and like I come up to throw lures in, and I hear them yell, "Hey, can you come and snag me?" I've done it a couple of times, and I had a kid do it 3 times during the dive. Snake, and I hooked him. I'm like, "Okay, buddy, this is the last time." Yeah. But,
I mean, you said that you were a recovery service, right?
Yeah. But I charge. I like doing a lot of free stuff too. But I just I tell when they get snagged, I'm like, "Okay, I snagged it. There's a huge log down here. Don't let your lure go way down there again. There's a huge patch of rocks here. Don't cast over it. let your line get stuck in it, so that when you're retrieving, your line's in there and it's pulling the lure right into it. So it's like I try to educate people too.
No, that's really cool. And in a lot of your videos, you can see you going around and you're tossing lures up to kids. Or
Yeah.
one of my favorites is when you tempt kids with 3 free lures if you carry all this back to my truck for me. I like that. That's awesome.
No,
And those kids are more than happy to do that.
And the thing is, like, they've been following my channel. One of them from Green Bay, he keeps watching my live shows. He's won a lot of stuff. Like, he wants to buy stuff, and like he ends up winning a lot of stuff from me. I got to send him a prize from last night. Actually, he won a free lure. So just from watching my channel, and then he tells his friends about it, and it's just cool. Like, free lures. I hate to say it, like, fishing lures are like drugs. I'm not a drug. I'm a lure, a dealer, or I give them away or whatever. But like, there's so many guys. There's so many guys out that girls do. They want lures. You got the pink one. You got this one does this and that. And it's like dang. But it's a pretty cool thing around here. It's a huge fishing town here. You know, Appleton, any river that has a bunch of walleye congregating up north, or salmon, a lot of bass fishing, whatever. But there's guys that people want to save money. They like getting free stuff. I like getting free stuff. So pretty crazy.
So I usually ask this like more towards the end of the show, but while you're talking about, winning free stuff, I mean, everyone here loves that. So where do people follow you to hear about those things?
So Ed, if you just look up Ed the Diver, it should be on your screen. It's on my screen. I'm on YouTube. I've got like 45 or 4,600 subscribers. TikTok, I've got 115,000 followers. Instagram is 34,000, I think, followers. And my Facebook is almost 4,000. But you can follow me in any of those. If you want to check them out, I got a lot of videos. I do stuff besides diving too, like showing my rotten food in my fridge. Everybody's got that.
Right there.
Yeah. One of my most viewed videos is from eating ice cream, like my way, big bowls of ice cream. But I do angler interviews. I go out to, I take a break from editing for the day. I'll go outside and I'll just find a random person fishing. I'm say, hey, can I interview for a free lure or something? Oh, heck yeah. And a lot of times they already know me, or they want to be on my channel, but I'll just ask them basic questions that, people want to know. And then while I'm interviewing, people can see their style of fishing. And then I'll get a lot of criticism like, oh, he's reeling way too fast for the cold water. So it's kind of funny just the way it all works. But I just trying to be out in the community, show them that I'm helping. Trying to get more people involved and know what I do. And it's just so cool.
That is so cool. And Jim is checking in. He said that he won a lure last night from you. And that's actually really exciting. Makes me want to follow along.
Jim Zaha.
Oh, awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. So that's a really cool connection because he's one of our good friends. And he won a lure. So that's awesome.
Okay. I didn't send it out today. I was busy today. I'm sending them out tomorrow. I think last year I spent over like $1,200 in shipping, and a lot of it was just free stuff. But this year I'm like, okay, I'm doing this full-time business mode. I did a lot of advertising, marketing. Now I got to make money, pay my bills. So I did a lot of shipping so far this year. And I shut down my website for common lures. I still have customs, but every day I get people, where do I buy lures? I need ripping wraps, I need blade baits. And I've been telling them, I'm sorry, my website's down for common lures until May. I got local demand here. And I'm selling this weekend, next weekend, and I'll sell a lot of pretty much everything. And that's why I get dive during the week, process during the week, edit videos. Weekend is sales times.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's 7 days a week.
So what do you? So there's a pretty I guess you could say lengthy chunk of time where you have breakup, right? It's probably like 2-3 weeks where you got big ice chunks coming down the river. You got logs and rocks moving around. So what do you fill your time with when you're doing that?
So in the Menominee River, it's colder because it's coming from the north, and the Fox River flows from the south. So I've been diving in the Fox River since February 16th. So wow. I've got like four dives in there so far. I think. But a lot of the ice is gone on there. So I've been down there. But then once it warms up, and then there's more divers down there. So I'm like, okay, they're doing their part. I did my part. Then I come back in the Menominee River. This year I'll be traveling up to the Wolf River more, Mississippi River. I'm going to go to the Detroit River, Milwaukee River. I've got a couple different things planned. Alaska, Minnesota, just a lot of stuff going on.
That's way awesome.
Also, I love the thought of traveling by river, like choosing destinations by. I'm a river rat. I love fishing, so that's like.
Oh yeah. anywhere where people are congregating, fishing shoulder to shoulder. There's just so many lures from over the years, and even if you've dove it a few times or dived it, you can go at it at one angle and think you got them all. You come back the other way from a different angle or flip over a few rocks, you can get just as much or more.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Detroit River one. They have some interesting fishing methods over there. And they use some interesting lures. So I'm excited to see that video.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll find out.
You'll find it.
Yeah, I'm wondering too. What do they use?
Oh, the whip fishing. And
they use crazy rods.
Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff over there that people are just figuring out.
Yeah, well, one of my painters that I'm still waiting for like 170 lures back from. He lives over there, and he's like, when you come over, I'll bring my boat to the spots that everybody's fishing. But most of the times, I just hop off the shore. I go out with my board, I'll find a shallow spot. I'll dive around that for a while, then I'll go work my way out deeper and deeper, and then just keep collecting. But it's like I usually wait to go in an unfamiliar place when the currents are water levels are lower, less current, because I don't want to get swept away into something that I'm unfamiliar with.
Do you ever do any diving out in the bay?
Yep, I do. In the bay, there's a lot of zebra mussels, especially out here. We did a dive last summer with Coots Lures. I don't know if you ever heard of them. Coots, yeah. Awesome. But he took me out there with his family, his wife, Kathy, and son Aaron, and my buddy Kyle. We went out by Chambers Island, I think it is. A lot of zebra mussels. And then some spots, the zebra mussels were all dead and washed up like 6 inches deep. So, if there's stuff that's out there, it's hard to see. But you can also see where someone dragged an anchor. You'll see all the zebra mussels, then just sand where something was dragging. So it's kind of cool.
That's crazy.
That is actually really crazy.
I don't do really many shipwreck dives. It would be cool to do once in a while, but I'm just so busy with like river cleanups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there's an organization called the Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance. Every spring they do a river cleanup. And so that might be a fun collaboration if you get a hold of those folks. They're very nice folks. So a little bit about my background, everybody kind of knows, but I'm in natural resources. I'm in water quality and fisheries for my day job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I know a lot of what you do appeals to that side, but I'm also an angler. So so you and we could probably hang out for days and not have other things to talk about. But that's a really cool organization that you might want to look into because they do some really cool things. And
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm in touch with the Michigan DNR, the Wisconsin DNR. I've had a couple people accuse me of stuff over the years. Well, you can't do that. You can't just go and take lures out of the river and remove tires. That's habitat for the fish.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm just confirming. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I'm taking like barrels and cans and stuff? They're like, yeah, go for it. They're thankful I'm doing it. And I've got phone numbers to the local DNRs, and I talk to them. They're like, yeah, we watch your videos. That's awesome. when I'm going to Alaska, Anchorage Police Department, they watch my videos too, and they asked me to come do a ride along with the police department because I got a degree in law enforcement.
That's cool.
I'll be doing that in July. But and then my dad lives up there, so I'll be up there visiting him. My stepmom will be fishing, mountain climbing, diving, doing the ride along. It's gonna be pretty cool.
That's gonna be an awesome adventure.
Oh yeah, I want to get out there and catch some halibut too.
Oh yeah.
And those are all really fun things that we would all like to follow along with. So, for that, where is the best place to follow you? Is that YouTube, Facebook, the combination, more than
Whatever
that?
you like to use the most. So YouTube, that's more of like my episodes, longer videos between like I still post short stuff on there, but I'll post videos up to like 22 minutes long on there. It tells more of a story. It shows more detail, more interactions with people. But then when you go down to Facebook or Instagram, or not Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, people just are on their phones scrolling. So you got to catch their attention really quick, and you got to keep it fast paced. So you can't really tell like a whole cool story. It's just like in your face, like action, 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 action. So that I take my YouTube video, condense it down to just action, action. Then Facebook, I kind of been learning how to work with that. I'm getting more followers, but TikTok is mainly action, action. That's why I got the most followers on there because everybody's the thumb flippers,
Mm.
and you're just doing like tossing lures, talking to fish, whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome. And so I know that we will be, you already said Ed the Diver to look that up wherever, whichever media outlet you prefer. But I know that we will be following you because that's a lot of great adventures to come. And so I would love to keep talking with you, but we are getting close to the end of our time. So I have to kind of cut us off a little bit and say thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, appreciate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Also, edthediver.com is my website if you want to check.
Oh yeah, look it up. Buy some lures.
Yeah, I just have customs on there right now, but
Yep.
I had to take all my commons off for local sales, but I'll have them hopefully back up in May. Like today, I just found 125 ripping wraps, but they're gonna be for local sales. I got guys calling, like they're trying to, like my phone's blowing up right now. They're trying to, I need some ripping wraps, $5 ripping wraps. So I'm like, I'm sorry, local only right now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I hate saying no, but it's just like I have my local crowd here that every year I want to take care of them.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And if you can hang tight, and then we'll say goodbye to you off air. But to
All
the
right.
people at home, we're definitely going to be checking out all of what you have to come. And to everybody, we love having you guys join us. Thanks so much for being here. Love your comments and questions and things along the way. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.